Okay, so let's talk about the color wheel. Okay, and I love this one. I actually got it from the dollar store too. So there's warm colors, which you can think of like the sun or heat, so yellow, orange, and red. And then there's cool colors, ocean, so greens, blues, purples. And if you stay within the color family, so with the cool colors, you don't have to worry. You can mix these up and you'll be safe. Everything will be good. It will be a beautiful painting. And you can vary like how much blue you use, if you use a turquoise blue or a yellow, a blue green, or a blue violet. So or a red violet. So within those colors there are tons of secondary colors too. So you can totally do that. Okay. Same thing with the warm colors, right? So yellow, orange, and red, if they're together, they're going to be beautiful. They're going to pop. It's going to be interesting and pretty, and it's going to be bright. I gravitate towards cooler colors. So I really like calm and peaceful colors. So that's where I kind of gravitate towards, and I have to kind of push myself onto the warmer sides. But yeah, so if you're starting out, I recommend that you experiment with working in just warm or just cool colors. That's my first tip. Okay. And then if you want to go a little bit beyond that, let's move on to tip number 2. Hi guys, it's me. So let's talk about color. So I'll have some suggestions about how I use color, but I want to show you this colored little book that I came up with. This is just made from ink card and I made it into a little book. But I love swatching out my colors here. I also have this one too. This is a big one that I did that's on a hook. But what I'll do is I'll just kind of see palettes that I like and I put them into these little books, and then I just have a palette that I can go to very quickly. I use the paints that I have around because sometimes you're looking at stuff and even inspiration for palettes and you kind of don't know if you have colors like that or things like that. So I recommend just making these little color palette and little paintings just in a book with the colors that you have on hand too. So let's experiment. I'm going to show you how I do this. So as you can see with most of these, I actually usually use warm and cool colors so I combine them. And I think that it's really important when you start out to stick with one color family, or at least put down one color family first and let it dry and then use the other color family, so warm and cool colors. But what I have been doing recently, which I love, is actually using either 2 warm colors or 2 cool colors. If I use the warm colors, then I add 1 cool color. And if I use the cool colors, then I add 1 warm color, and it just gives you a little bit more pop and interest and variation in your colors. I do just little abstract paintings quickly just to kind of see how the colors laid out too. Another thing that you can do with these two is actually think about proportion. So maybe have some areas of your page that have more of one color and just like little dashes of the 2 other colors, or whatever, however you want to do that. So maybe 2 big colors, so yellow and orange would be this, and then I just use the other colors as accents. So those are kind of my suggestions, and I'll show you how this works. So I'm just going to grab 2 warm colors and then we'll do a cool color and then we'll reverse. Okay, so I have some colors here, so let's kind of see here. So I think we're going to do, this is a yellow color, kind of a green yellow. Actually, maybe I'll grab green. Green is a color that I really don't use that often, so let's do green. And okay, so I'm going to show you how this works. So let's do some apple. Doesn't matter which brand of paints you're using. I'm just going to use cheap craft paints, but I have another book too that I use for my more expensive acrylics that are light fast, that are more expensive. We'll do some green. And then I said that I was going to do warm colors, so maybe I'll do this lemon. Alrighty, and then I would get a couple of small brushes for this. will just make your life a little easier. You can clean off the brush every time. That's mostly what I'll do, but for you, I'm not going to do that. So on this side, I'm just going to put the pure colors. So just right out of the bottle or whatever you mix. Green, and then you have like a little sample here, so that you'll know what colors they are. You can even mark them and say, you know, this is lemon orange or lemon yellow or whatever. That's a little bit watery, but that's okay. And then I'm going to take the the red. And red and green are opposites from each other from the color wheel. So if I add a little bit of green, it's going to dull down that red. Actually, probably I needed just a little bit less green. Let's do that again. So we'll take this, just going to add just a little bit of that green in there, because it will just kind of dull down that red so it's not as bright. So let's put that down. So you see that they're two different colors. There. Okay. I'm going to put out a little bit more red. So I just put out like gentle dots of color. You can also have a little rag to wipe things off. And this is kind of gentle color mixing, but I absolutely love it. I think it's really cool. I'm just going to try to get some of that pure pigment of the yellow on there. There. I think that looks better. So let's do red and yellow. Add a little bit more red, yellow, and you can, you know, experiment and see how you like them. If I add more yellow, if I add more red, what will happen? And you can just make swatches that go all the way across. I mean, even with 3 colors, you're able to just make so many cool colors. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, and then let's do this green and the yellow and see what we have. So I'm going to grab some of the yellow and the green, and I get a lighter green color. So interesting. So it's kind of like the primaries. And if you added white to this, it would be even more interesting. But I just want to show you, you can just use a little bit of colors and get something really, really interesting. I'm going to take the pure red and put that down. And then let's put down some of the pure green. And I know I did it down here, but I like to see them next to each other. So we'll put that here. Make sure you shake up your paint. Okay, and then we'll do some yellow. I think for the yellow, I'm just going to take it right out of the top of the little container. Okay, do that. And I'll just put it right next to the red. Okay, but that is an interesting color palette. I mean, might work with for flowers or something like that. I think it's interesting. Or even just, yeah, I would totally use those colors on a page, a bright, maybe summery page or springy page, or just whatever kind of page I want. So I'm going to start out by putting down, I'm going to paint my little abstract. So I just kind of want to see how the colors play together. So I'm going to go in and just play, see what I have on my palette that I can play with a bit. Let's add in some green. Maybe we'll make like a swirly thing. I don't overthink, I'm just making like simple marks. Dashes, I just want to see how the colors layer together. I already love this. Like, that looks so cool with that yellow, with that green. And I would have never discovered that. Like, I would have never picked out those two colors together. And I really like when they're mixed together. I think that that gives me an interesting like lime green color. So I think to be comfortable with color, you need to play with it. And a small journal like this, where you just swatch out the colors, is safe. It's a safe way to experiment with color and to see what you like. So I think, and I hope that you make one too. Because I constantly get questions on color, and I know it can be incredibly intimidating, but I wanted to give you like a practice that you could do too. Let's make some orange. I think that's pretty close to the orange. Let's do some like dashes here. Just pushing down my brush, and if I don't like that, it's okay. I kind of like the green coming through a bit. You can even like scrape into it. Awesome. And then I like to add a splatter. So I think I have all the colors on here that I used in my little demo here. Let me just make sure. Yep, I think everything's there. So just with whatever's left. Oh, do I want to do yellow? Maybe red. And I'm going to add some splatters. And then I love these little pages because I can go in and doodle on them, which is so fun. It's so fun to doodle on color. You can fill things in. I mean, I'm totally going to use these for other stuff. I can already tell. You can dip in and add little dots and lines. But we just want to have kind of a safe, easy place to experiment with these little color swatches that we made. So let's do another one. I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes. This time we'll do 2 cool colors and a warm color too. So it really doesn't matter which ones you choose for this. I mean, if you get something that you don't like, that's okay. Like this one here, all the colors are very green and a little bit brown and dull, so maybe that's not something that I like, but I do like it. But if I did it, then I'm learning something. That's the main thing about this process, is to create a book that you can use that is inspired with all the things that you have, all the paints and things that you have. And you see here that you don't need a ton of paints. With 3 colors, I can make so many different things. There's 6 here, and if I kept going, you know, and added maybe a little less red to this, then it would be a different orange. So you can keep playing with this, and the colors will just go on and on. I mean, you could probably make an entire chart at least of 10 or 15 colors just from those 3 colors that I use. So I think you need to not be afraid to mix colors and experiment. And like I said, just take maybe 15 minutes every week and just make little swatches and make these little abstracts. And then when you're ready, when you go to your journal, your artwork, you can say, okay, I like this color combination, I like these colors together, and it just makes for really interesting paintings and things like that. And lots of times we get colors and they're just kind of sitting around and we don't know necessarily where to start. So this will kind of just help you to just get comfortable with painting and with using colors, and being more comfortable with it, because it's not as intimidating as you think. I think the main thing is to try to go for it. And I am going to have 2 more tips, but we'll do that after I play a little bit more with this technique. Okay, so I think that we are nice and dry, so we'll flip over to the next page. It's okay if a little bit gets on there. And we're going to do 2 cool colors. So we'll do maybe this one, and then we'll do a warm color. So maybe this one. We'll see. I don't know. I don't think this combination will look good together, but we're going to try it. Okay. So I'm just going to squirt a little bit down. That's too much, but that's okay. I'll put it on another page. This really pretty blue. And this, which is kind of, it's called coil, flamingo coil. It's really pretty. So let's add a little bit. And you could even, I mean, just to start out with this technique, I would maybe just get 5 cool colors and 5 warm colors and then combine them and see what we're doing. So pick 3, so 2 warm colors, 2 cool colors, and just keep switching up the combination. I think that would be so cool to see what you got. I'm just going to wipe off these brushes. A little bit. Okay. Alrighty. So first we'll put down the pure pigment or the pure color. Okay, and I'll do this one. Let's do some of our orange here. And we'll do some blue. And I'm just doing 3, but you could feel free to do more. So do it as you like. Okay, so we'll go here and put this here, and then I'm going to add a little bit of orange. And I know that that's going to dull down this blue. It's going to make it a little bit darker, not as bright. So let's put that down. And I'm working on the side of my pile here. Let's put that down. So it gives it this really pretty kind of smoky blue color that I love. Which is fun. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so let's kind of put that aside over here, and then let's do the purple. I'm going to put down some purple first here, the pure purple. Then I'm going to do purple and the blue. And I'm doing mostly purple with just a little bit of blue. But again, you can reverse it. So lots of blue, a little bit of purple, and see what you get. So, and I do see a shift there now. So I'm going to put that down. So look at that gorgeous color. So if I mix these two together, I get that gorgeous purple. Do you see this? Why, this is so much fun. And the great thing is, because I'm using the same colors, they're going to work together, right? So it's great. I just love it. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. So let's grab this, and we'll add just a little bit of purple. I don't know what this is going to do, but we're going to try it. Maybe I'll put this down first. Let's see. Kind of a strange orangey purple, but that's okay. Alrighty, so I think that's pretty interesting. Alrighty, and let's do the pure blue. You need to do that up there too. And I don't particularly like this blue by itself. It's just like a funny dark blue color. But I do like it when I mix it, especially with the purple. So again, I figured this out, right? Okay, so let's start out by putting down that beautiful purpley blue. And I do get my brush just a little bit wet here. I'm going to fill that up because I love that color. Okay. We will do some circles here, just twirling my brush here. Let's do some purple. And just be intuitive about adding the colors. Don't overthink it, right? And I'm telling you that because I'm trying to tell myself that. Doesn't matter, it's just a little abstract piece. I'm just trying to see how the colors play together, so it doesn't have to be perfect at all. Okay. Here and add a little bit of this, and let's do some of that ugly purpley orange. Oh, let's see, I'm going to put some there. Okay, we'll add some of that. Maybe not that much. I don't particularly like that color, but it might be good as a neutral. But I discovered that, okay? And those two colors were never going to mix together very well anyway. Okay, but I tried. Okay, and then let's see if any of this is dry enough to go through here. And just add a little bit of my orange color. That looks cool. Okay, anything else that I want to add? Maybe, I need some of that dull blue. The dull down blue. With the orange. Kind of see what that is about. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that here. And it came like an orangey green, but that's okay. It's very close to, I think it's close to that. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add a splatter. So I'm going to do the light orange. Oops. That has a little bit of red in it because I didn't clean off the brush very well. But I think that's okay. Okay. Let's add some splatters here. And of course, if you let this dry, you can really make like a little abstract piece, but I'm keeping it simple. We'll add maybe a dot in the middle of that. I don't know. You can even finger paint with some of it, but we'll let that dry completely. But we already have 2 little pages that are interesting and done, and we kind of get to see how our color is laid out. So maybe I'll use a whole bunch of purple and even that purpley blue and the dark blue, and then I can add pops of the pretty peach color, maybe with white. I think that would be really cool and interesting. Maybe add a little green or whatever too. So I already have an idea just from doing this little practice. So. Okay, so another way that you can get inspiration for color is using magazines. So I pulled this one. You can see that there's some navy, there's some green, lots of purples. There are some pops of pinks and corals, so I can use that. But just look, I mean, designers know what they're doing when they put together these layouts in magazines. So magazines are a great place to find color inspiration. So just to kind of give you an idea of that. So we're going to kind of see if we can make a palette based on that. Do I have to have all the colors? Of course not. I just have this blue, so I'm going to use that. I know that I'm going to need just some white. Maybe if it comes out. Maybe. I'm always terrible. I don't know why. I must not close my whites correctly because they always give me a problem. So I'm just going to kind of clear off the part in there so it will squirt out the hole here. Okay, but we have a little bit of white on there. That might be exactly what I need here. Alrighty. Perfect. And then I'm going to do a dark blue. Okay. We're going to go ahead and grab a brush, which has that pretty purpley blue, which I can see is one of the colors in here. So I'm just going to swatch it out. So this is another little swatch book that I have, and I'm going to see if I can get at least maybe 3 of those colors I would be happy with. Okay, so you have that one. I do see that there is just a regular blue. Maybe I'll add a little bit of white. Yeah. So that looks awesome. That's definitely a color that I see there. And don't pressure yourself. You don't have to do all of them. Let's grab another brush. Let's do this green. So we have the green, which I mixed in with a little blue because that was what was on my brush. I'm going to add some white. And I don't really see that one in there. So I think I needed just like a straight green, but that's okay. I love that color actually, so it's fine with me. Let's do this one and let's add some white. See what we get if we do that. Yeah, so that's very close to the green on there. perfect. But this is already beautiful, right? I love it. It's a great palette. And then let's go ahead and add our purple. We'll do straight purple, but I'm going to add a lighter color to it too. Just maybe right in here, I'll lighten it up. Pretty, right? And then I see that there's some white, so I could also add white too, but you're getting an idea, right, of what we're doing here. So much fun to mix colors together, but you already have a palette that maybe no one else will have. Can even add more white, I think, in there, if I can do that. Maybe add a little purple too. But we're just getting kind of subtle variations of the color. So I love that. I think that that's enough of a variety of the really pretty, cool colors with blues and purples. So I love how that looks. I will definitely use this palette. You'll see it definitely for something. So I hope that those give you lots of ideas for how to use colors. So first tip is make a little color notebook to put in all the colors that you're attracted to. Maybe you do a painting and you really love the color combination. Put it into your journal or your notebook and just have fun. The next one is to actually use 2 warm or two cool colors plus the opposite. Okay, so if you're working with cool colors, you'll do 2 cool, 1 warm. And if you're working with warm colors, 2 warm, 1 cold, and just play with that. You can even just take 10 colors. I think that sometimes you want to get all the colors, but maybe just go to the craft store or the paint store and just look and see what colors touch you and pick out 10 of your favorites. Especially with acrylic paint, it's cheap, it's good to experiment with. Of course, it's not as pigmented as other paints, but I think when you're starting out or if you're not comfortable with color, that's okay, right? You can feel safe, you can use it freely, and it's not going to give you anxiety, and you're not going to think that you wasted your money or your time. Also get white and black, because they will work. You can lighten up a color with a little bit of white, or you can tone it down a little bit, and you can add just a touch of black or even gray. Will actually darken up a color too and kind of remove some of the saturation. So those are great tips. Another thing is to look at magazines and magazine pages and pull colors from them to use in your palette too. There's a whole bunch of other things that you can do too. I'll have linked some Instagram accounts that you can follow that give you color palettes every single week, and just are beautiful for looking at color and being inspired by it too. But the main thing is, don't just look, actually get out your paints and play a little bit in a safe way. My journals, I love when they're full of color. Some of my favorite pages are these kind of where I just cleaned up my palette and I see lots of combinations that I love that I'll use in future paintings. And you know, I do a lot of art journaling, so I know that even with this kind of crazy page with a bunch of different color, I can do something with that. I can add a couple elements and it's totally fine. But lots of these pages are just extra paint that I had from a project that I just kind of will mop up and use as something else. This has a ton of color in it too, and I'll use it for something. So yeah, I'll let it be colorful and crazy, and then I can go in and do stenciling and stamping. But I like certain colors together, so it's just great. Color is so fun to use, and it's so nice when you're kind of free with your products and you experiment. So I hope that gives you guys some tips, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.